Hi, welcome to now. This is our time to get creative together, and you might need a pair of scissors. I'll give everyone a moment to tune in. And when you do join, if you want to say hey, that'd be really cool. Um, I'm not painting today because I'm not wearing my smock. So there's that. So didn't feel like painting today. I felt like doing this, and I don't know how this is going to turn out. So thanks for your patience and your grace while I try something new. I've been wanting to do this. I'm pulling this up. Um, I've been wanting to do this little art thing that I'm about to share for a while, and I just haven't done it. And today it was like, you want to do it today? Hey, Mama Jane, how are you? Grab a pair of scissors. um, and a calendar, an old calendar. This is what I had in mind, y'all. So I felt like, I don't know why. So, anyway, so I was gifted this calendar by a local artist. Molly Blythe created it. Um, and each month, this was 2 years ago. So each month, she has a really cool image, right? Like her art. I think they're really pretty. And I'm not like I'm I'm not going to use the calendar anymore, right? It's from 2020. But I really like the images that she has in here. So what I want to do is to repurpose this into an art project. So there's that. Um, I'm not I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this, but I have a little bit of an idea in my mind that I want to share. So the invitation is to create something with something you already have. Oftentimes when I'm painting, I use canvases that have already been painted on. Um, that I find that either they're usually just donated to me. People have paintings that they just don't want, or like go into a thrift store or whatever, where you can buy basically a canvas that already has paint on it for maybe a quarter or 50 cents. To me, that just makes more sense than going to a store and buying new stuff when I don't have to. So I really like the idea of repurposing things and creating something new with it, which I think is just a huge metaphor with life. Like we can't just die and be like, that's okay, tomorrow I'll be a new everything. Even if you go the reincarnation path, you're still gonna like come back into a body as a baby, and still have that whole experience to grow into. Um, so the metaphor of that I use with life is like we can repurpose. We have all of this information and lived experience, and so using that to repurpose our own life, to recreate our life every single day, or every year, or every month, or whatever, every moment, whatever. But there's something really valuable to taking what we already have and reusing it in a new way. Plus it's super affordable. Like I don't want to spend all the money on stuff and things when I have stuff and things already here. So the invitation is, if you have a calendar that you really like the art on, or the images or whatever, like you can reuse that. And why not? So something that has been coming up, let's see, is there's just a lot of stuff going on in the world, like the Russia Ukraine thing. And I'm so very curious how all that's going to turn out, because I don't like war. I don't like fighting. Like it's not my jam. And I'm really curious how it's going to like end, because there's so much that we're only told through the media here, that like there are all these other sides and information that we're just not being given, and I'm just really curious about like the whole story of everything. um and it doesn't sway my desire for there to be peace. Like I don't care who's fighting who, I still want peace. I enjoy peace. So I'm gonna take these images. So this is the invitation, is to take the images from a calendar and create on them. And then I'm going to cut out, I don't know, I haven't decided if I'm going to cut out just the image or leave the background color or not. But this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to take this image with these markers and I'm going to draw over it. This also works with like stickers and like you can like stick stuff on it too. So it would probably be really wise if I took a pencil first, but instead I'm going to go straight up black Sharpie marker. You would leave the background colors. I think I'm going to try that and see. I mean, worst case scenario is that I cut it off. So thank you for that feedback. I am going to leave it on the spiral for now, just so that I can have something hard to work on because I want to do it in my lap and I'm using a pillow. So I'm kind of like envisioning like a vision board of sorts where you put your like ideas and dreams and visions for like what you want in the world. And something that's really been coming through for me lately is peace, love, and joy. Like to me, that's like the trifecta, y'all. It's like love and peace and joy. Like I know that there are other things, but man, that's like liberation. I really like liberation a lot. Um, justice actually came up for me today is a word. Um, so I'm going to take these words and put them on top of the image. So if you have a calendar that you like the image on, grab it and then get some markers or paint. Paint would work really well. I just didn't feel like getting the paint out for some reason today. I really thought about it. I'm like, I want the Sharpies. But like you could even paint the word like love over that. You know, you could write a poem over this. You know, you could write a haiku over this. You could write a love letter over this and put it in somewhere. You could write affirmations on this. You know, I am worthy and I am loved. You know, and you can put these anywhere. So use these images and use it to expand and make it even more personal. And it's no disrespect to, in this example, Molly Blythe, who created this. I am honoring this because otherwise it's just going to sit and I'm not going to be able to see it. So the first thing I want to write love on here. And I don't really know where it's going to go. So I'm just going to start and trust that I'm not going to mess it up. So I'm curious, how do you all feel about marking over, drawing over, painting over something that's already been created? Does that feel good to you or does it feel like disrespect? I'm actually like really curious because I would like to just have a conversation about it I'm going to go with a lighter color first so I can kind of see what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the black over it. Little neutral kind of tan will be what I use. Yeah, I'm curious. Oh, yeah. I did it with a really light color and can't really see it. Okay. I thank you for sharing that. Mama Jane says she doesn't like to cover things up that are beautiful. Um, what about what if what you added made it more beautiful? What if? I'm going to show you what I was going to show you the first with the light color marker, but you literally couldn't see it. So lame. Okay. So I just wrote the word love over it. pretty easy. And I'm going to color it in. It's kind of like, to me, I've had a hard time doing that because I was afraid that like I would mess it up, that I would make it worse, that I would ruin it. And that right there, that idea of ruining something has been something that I've really gotten to work through. Um, the idea of me ruining a meal, like I've ruined meals before, and I felt like I took it so personally that I felt so bad because I made a meal for people and I ruined it. It tasted like crap. Like it really did. It wasn't even like me being hard on myself. It actually was bad. Um, and I felt so, I don't even know what the other words are for like how bad I felt other than just bad. Like I took it so personally, like that I ruined it. I couldn't take it back. I couldn't fix it. Um, it's kind of like I've said things before that have been really hurtful and I didn't realize that it was hurtful. And when I realized how hurtful it was to someone and they like couldn't get past it or they couldn't forgive me, that feeling of like I ruined the friendship, I ruined the relationship. I felt this like big accountability um, in a really negative way. Like I took it really personally and I could just continue to like judge and punish myself and really wallow in that feeling of like I ruined it. And I don't want to ruin anything. And for me, doing stuff like this, like painting over something that is beautiful, is really supporting my recovery of not feeling like I'm actually ruining something. I colored it in. That's what I just did. I wrote the word love over that. I'm gonna read what y'all are sharing. I'm so happy y'all are here. Mama Jane says, if I knew it would turn out more beautiful, then I guess I would try it. Right? And we don't know until we try it. And it's going to be more beautiful because then it's like this like beautiful collaboration between what Molly Blythe had done and me, adding the little love on there. Jennifer's here. I want to say hey, and she shares. Um, oh, thank you, Angie. I'm happy to see you on here too. Jennifer shares. I actually have a stack of black and white abstract prints that my office was going to throw away in a remodel. So I took them because I so wanted to paint abstract bright colors over them. I still haven't done so. I needed this motivation and validation to do so. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, that makes me so happy to hear. Yes, just do it. Like, just do it, right? Because here's the thing, we can't ruin it. Like, okay, I wrote the word love on there. I like it. I'm probably going to add more stuff because I'm just not feeling complete with this. Okay, I might add something and then be like, ooh, yeah, probably shouldn't have added that. Okay, it's okay. It's a process. Creation is a process. Creativity is a process. We're never done with it. So I'm going to add something to this and I might really like it. I might think it looks like crap. Here's the thing, I have more, right? Because it's a calendar. I have at least 12 opportunities to try to co create with someone else's creation. And I'm not going to sell it. Like, I'm not trying to say, look, I did this. And if I did do that, I would be like, Molly Blythe did this and I wrote on it. You know, just saying. Like, there's so much art, images, graphic images that people just like they just throw away. We can use that as like the canvas. It's like a canvas that's already got a base to it. I am gonna try to draw a thing. I hope that's dry because I don't want to have. Yes. But yeah, I have the paintings that I've painted over, like this one right here, this stripy thing that you can't see much of, but that was another painting of like Italy or something that someone had gotten on like it wasn't their honeymoon. Hmm. It was something. It meant a lot to the person that had owned it previously. And then they gave it to me. I'm like, I'm painting over it. And I'm like, whatever. They may want it back now, but like, it's mine. Mama Jane says, art is what you see and feel. Exactly. So I'm drawing on the outside of the image because worst case scenario is I can just cut it out. Oops. Maybe I don't like this. I'll show you what I did. So I just drew that on the outside of it. I don't know if I really like it. Maybe if I added a color to it instead of black. This is how I create. I do something and I'm like, yeah, I like that. And then I do something else. I'm like, I don't like that. So then I add something to it or turn the page and start over. Um, what else have you all repurposed anything um like created on something that had already been created before? I had received a it's a dresser thing and it's really cool. It's like super cool. It has a copper top and copper doors and it was like stained and with a like a faux finish kind of a thing. And it's cool and it just doesn't remotely go with my decor in my home. Um, because I just have a bunch of art and colorful stuff everywhere. So for that to be colorful, it's like it's a little bit much. So, but it was someone's creation, and I'm like, and I love that they created it. And here's the thing: I'm gonna paint over it, and I may think that what I did is better or worse. But that's okay. So this is what I did. I wrote the word love on it. I added those squiggles. I'm probably gonna cut them off, and probably just cut off the. I think I'm just gonna cut out the image, the color image, and keep the word love on it. So I'm gonna do another one. Ooh, this one's pretty. Look at that. It's so lovely. I'm wondering if these are like big paintings. I feel like they are. Let's see. Purple. So, liberation is another word that's been coming up for me lately a lot that I would like to write on here. And it's funny. So, I have been drawing like block letters since I was a kid. And it still looks exactly the same as when I was a kid. Like it's not changed. They look exactly the same. So funny. Style. Jennifer shares creating other clothes and items from the fabric. Ooh, from the fabric from thrift stores, from thrift clothes is fun. That's like the best in feeling no fear and messing it up. That's so cool. Do you have a sewing machine? I'm curious because I have seen some stuff that people have done with like repurposed clothes. Like they'll be like, this is a great fabric, and they make like a bag or a pillow or a dress or whatever out of it. And I'm like, that's so cool. I don't have a sewing machine. Um, but when I see that, I it makes me really happy. I just saw this thing. I may have mentioned it before, but I saw an image, and I believe it was in Chile. Um, there is basically in the middle of the a desert there. is this huge like landfill of clothes from fast fashion. So fast fashion, if you don't know what that means, it's basically cheap clothes that don't last. That's what it is. It's when you go and you buy the $5 shirt, and then like a week later it starts having holes in it. And those aren't the types of clothes that you want to give to the thrift store, right? Because they're so poor quality. So we tend to throw them away. Well, they don't just disappear. Like when we throw things in the garbage, they don't disappear. They end up in landfills. And so this image was of just a mountain of clothing, and these women were like going through it and try to like salvage and make use and um like do something with this big pile, literally a landfill size pile of just clothes. And I'm like, if we would get on the bandwagon of like reusing and repurposing stuff in a creative way, legit, we would be changing the entire world. But we are so in a culture where it's like everything is expendable. I mean, we are treated like we're expendable. We treat animals like they're expendable. We get a dog and we just, you know, get rid of it and get another one. We order the biggest meal ever and we take a couple bites and we throw it away. We buy food and we don't eat it and it goes to waste, and we don't compost it. We just put it in the garbage can. We live in this society here in the United States where it's just very wasteful. Like, and not coming from like a lack perspective, but like it's like no reverence, no care. Um and it's like we just throw everything away. It's so interesting. So I like that we can actually take things and reuse them and create something new, whether it's clothes or art, you know, something. Just create something with it, because otherwise it's literally just gonna sit in a landfill and make it harder on the environment, the animals, the soil, the water. Like, I don't, this doesn't feel good. Jennifer's saying, I got a super cool old basic. What? I asked her if she had a sewing machine because she takes these clothes and the fabric from thrift stores. She says she found a super cool old basic one for $20 from a woman who was moving into a retirement home. She wanted it to go to a home where it would be loved, and so it is. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. See, that's the thing about repurposing things. I feel like this Molly Blythe calendar that I have, like it literally would just be sitting where it was sitting for the past 2 years. Um, and no one would ever see it. And now if anyone sees it, first of all, I'm loving this experience of drawing on here, and I'll show you what I've got in a second. Um, but like now, if anyone sees this stuff, like I get a share that I did that on a Molly Blythe piece. So I wrote liberation on this one. It's nothing fancy. It ain't nothing fancy. But I want to trace it in navy blue because my holes for the B and the R and the A and the O are just a little hard to see. So I'm hoping this helps. Liberation. Liberation Station coming right up. You're free to make up your mind and live as you choose. What I may end up doing, I'm not sure yet. I may end up writing like a haiku or something below it. What I did. I just traced it. Like I could do that. I could I don't want to do it right now, but I may end up like writing a little haiku, just like in this little area, just with a little finer pen. And maybe on the love one, I might do the same thing, or I could write an affirmation like, I am love. On the liberation, I could write an affirmation of, you know, that you are free. I am free. I am liberated. I am sovereign. Look at this one. Isn't that neat? So much stuff to look at. Yeah, I definitely just going back to like the conversation around like ruining things. How oftentimes like it's that fear of failure almost. Like I don't want to ruin it, so I'm not going to try it. And it's because I don't want to fail because I'm still holding on to judgment around myself. Like so what if I fail, right? If I'm not judgmental, then I don't care if I fail because that's a part of life. Like duh. But we've been conditioned in our culture to be so judgmental on ourselves and others that we'll just not do anything. We won't create. We won't try. We fear failing so much that we just won't do it. I want this one. This is what I want to do now. I want to put peace on here. Peace. Y'all, it was so cute. I was with kids yesterday and one of them was leaving and I was like bye and I went like that and she just like did it right back and she's like 11 and it warmed my heart so much that this little 11-year-old gave me peace fingers. Felt so good. The little things. I think that fear of failure has prevented like a huge population of not even trying to create. Like people don't want to sing, they don't want to dance, they don't want to draw, paint, cook because they're afraid of failing. Moving, people won't move, people won't try things. And no judgment on that. It's been me. What was the last thing that you did that you were scared to do because you thought you were going to fail and you didn't? What was the last? I'm curious. And by fail, I'm talking like, I don't know, that whatever that looks like. What was the last thing you did that you were afraid that you were going to fail, but you did it anyway? I'm curious. And while you respond, I can tell you about mine. The shadow box. Yes, Mama Jane created a shadow box, thought she was going to fail, made it anyway. And I'm guessing they loved it. I'm guessing that they loved it. Did they love it? Did they? Um, I was in Costa Rica and my friend and her little 2-year old and I went down to this creek river and hung out and just sat in the water and watched little tadpoles. Oh, of course they loved it. See, if we don't move through something, then we don't bring if we stop ourselves because we're afraid we're going to ruin it and we just don't do it, then we stop others from having like a really beautiful experience. See, I love that. I'm so happy. Um, I'm so happy that she cried because she loved it so much. So we had gone to this river and we were just like playing in the water, and then so she and her little one left, and I stayed, and I was by myself, and it was really lovely. So I continued to like walk down the river, like on the rocks and in the water. It was great. And I sat down and was just, hey, Linda, I'm happy you're here. And I just like sat there and was just in the moment and just watching the trees. And there was a waterfall right on the other side of me. And I was just having my moment. And then there were four people that walked up the river behind me, and a dog named Emma. And they came up behind me and they went in front of me on the rock. It was a really big rock. And they set all their stuff down. And one of the dudes, it was two dudes and two women. And one of the dudes like jumped off the rock. And I was like, whoa, wasn't expecting that. And so one by one, they continued to jump off of this rock. And I was like, wow. And I saw them kind of, I couldn't see where they landed because of where I was, but I saw them kind of like where they swam to, like beyond. And I was like, well, they all survived, so that's good. Um, and so a few minutes later, I stood up and I walked over to where they jumped, and I like looked down and I looked at them and I was like, whoa. And they looked up and they're like, yeah, come on. And I was like, and I just communicated. I said, I am experiencing so much fear. And I was afraid that I was going to ruin the jump and die, or hurt myself. Like that's what I was afraid of. Like I was afraid to jump because I was afraid that I was going to get hurt, um, which really would have sucked for the rest of my trip. And they would have had to have like helped, and that would have sucked for them too. So they were telling me like, well, just make sure you jump like right here because it's where the water's deep. And I was like, okay. And so I stood there for what felt like forever while my heart was racing and my palms were sweating, and just I was experiencing a lot of fear. Um, so eventually I jumped off this big rock and I was like, "Pow," and I did it. It was so liberating and exciting and fun. And so I hung out with these people, and like one was from LA, one was from France, and two were from London. And so it was just really cool to connect and meet people from around the world. And getting out of that area was a whole other ball game. I literally had to like climb rocks, like rock climb with a waterfall. So they were very slick and wet. I did it. Um, but that feeling of I didn't want to ruin it. I didn't want to mess up. I had a lot of fear around it, but I did it anyway. And it brought me a lot of joy. It brought them a lot of joy. They shared some reflections about just the experience with me. And all these like really beautiful things happened because I didn't let that fear stop me. That I was just like standing there on the edge and thinking like this is such a metaphor for my life. Like I'm at the edge. I can choose to jump or I can be afraid and not jump. I don't want to live a life where I'm too afraid to step into my life. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that anymore for myself. So I jumped. And so I say that because like Mama Jane shared that she had created this thing for her grandchild, um, and moved through the fear of creating that. And it turned out to be really well received, right? Um, I just wrote peace on this one. Peace, peace, brown. But yeah, just thinking about, ooh, look at that one. It's like a face and a heart, and it looks sad and mad, but it's also really happy and joyful. That's interesting. I'm gonna write on that one. Um, yeah, I don't want fear to be the dictator on anything that I do ever again. Like it's happened for a lot in my life, and even in like really subconscious ways. I'm like, really? I didn't do that because I was afraid. Oh, or I did that because I was afraid. Oh, like I don't want to move from that perspective anymore. Like I just want to, like I want to do things because it feels like joy or it feels like love or peace or liberation. Like I want to move from that place only. I don't want to make any decisions because I'm afraid of the outcome. To me, that just feels really unhealthy and a little old school for me. I have to sneeze. I'm wondering if it'll happen. Nope. Dang it. It was going to be a good one, y'all. I could tell, like, made my nose run. I was about to do a big sneeze. I think it's because I said I'm when you sneeze. Ah. Okay, so here's the question. If you had no fear, right? Like you can't ruin it, you can't mess it up. What would you create with what you already have? Like would you like for example, I have a house, I could create something new because I could sell it. There's also a lot of fear around selling my house, right? Like, well, what if I don't ever have a house again or like whatever, right? So like if you didn't have fear, what would you do? What would you create? What would you like put out into the world? What would you do? No fear. I'm curious. Would you do anything? Would you take a trip somewhere? Like, I would like to take a trip, but I don't like I won't go some places if I feel that they may hate Americans or something, I don't know. I think if I didn't have a fear, I would definitely sell my house. But I also really love my house. Ah, paint something on canvas. Yes. Thank you for your honesty. If you had no fear, you would paint something on canvas. Seriously, a really good thing about canvas is it's like anything else, and you can just paint over it and over it and over it and over it. Like you're not held to whatever it is you create on it. Um, and canvas is fun. A base coat works really well. Just a heads up. So you could paint a base coat of white. I did a base coat on one that was black. I painted the whole canvas black first. So, it's kind of like this. If this is the canvas, you could literally finger paint on the canvas first and then paint something on top of it because you can't mess it up. That's why I love creativity, y'all. It literally breaks down any subconscious barriers in our mind and it allows us to like expand and heal so much. Cause it's like I talk to so many people that are like, oh, I would sing. Like, well, what stops you? I don't want someone to hear me. I would dance. Well, why not? What if someone sees me? I want to paint. Well, then why not? What if somebody doesn't like it? Not everyone's gonna like anything. In fact, there's gonna be someone that looks at my little joy that I added to this and think, well, that was stupid. You ruined it. Disrespectful. That's their opinion. Like, and it's okay. It's okay. think we forget how much freedom we have, that we can paint and play and create and make new things that have never been made before, and we're not having to edit it or hide it. And yet we live in a culture where we hide it. It's so silly. Mama Jane says, I'm not concerned about what others may say. It's trying to find creativity in my mind. Ah, I'm so glad you said that. Creativity doesn't come from the mind at all. Creativity comes from the heart. The mind is just what we get to choose. Am I going to hold this? Am I going to hold it with my right hand, my left hand? Like this, the mind is just what chooses the things. But creativity comes from the heart. Creativity is an expression of creator, right? Of great spirit, of God. So like creativity doesn't start in the mind. It never has. It starts in our sacral space. It starts in the heart and the sacral space, our womb. Even in male bodies, it's the sacral chakra. It's the space of creation. It has nothing to do with the mind. The mind is just what chooses to do it, to choose to express it, to tell the self that it's safe to do so. Because we're just taught that it's not safe, you know. And of course, we've been taught it's not safe. Like we've grown in a culture that, you know, everything is not safe. It's not safe to be you and this and that and the other. So we just keep taking those beliefs on and reinforcing them with our choices. So I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because I think a lot of people may think the same thing, that creativity starts in the mind. And if I don't come up with a creative idea, then I can't create. So I just am going back. Check this out. I just added polka dots around the word liberation. I'm just doing it. And that's Mama Jane says that I need to have a talk with my heart to jumpstart creativity. What if you didn't have to talk with it? You just said it's safe to do so, and you put a paintbrush in your hand and put a canvas under it and had a bunch of paint. That's the conversation, right? It's the action step of allowing it to happen. That's the choice. That's where the change gets made. It was like, um, it was like, um, yeah, when there we go. When Jennifer was saying about the the clothes and stuff that she'll take and make something new with it, like the only thing that she has to do is choose, you know, but she may not have an idea of what the end result is even going to look like because she doesn't go into the store and say, okay, I need to get this, and this. She goes to the store and she sees these things and she goes, that feels good. I like that. I like that pattern. Yeah. That's the heart and the creative expression working together. The mind is what chooses to pick them up and take them to the counter and pay for them. The mind is what says it's safe to go ahead and cut them up and to create. And the way they're put together is her heart and her sacral space in creating it. So it's a full body experience. Creation is a full body experience. It's not one part. It's not just like my hands have to work this way or my brain has to be smart enough and taught these things. It's not just the heart that just has the desire. It's not just the sacral space. It's just full of all this infinite potential of things that have never been created. It literally is the wholeness of us working together and making something new, you know? And to me, when we don't allow that, then we're just stopping the source love, of liberation. We stop the flow of peace and joy. So I kind of want to like cut these out and put them on something. Ooh, so check this out. I just saw this. I just noticed this. So because it's a calendar, it has the little holes already punched in it. So you know what I could do? I could actually take them, I could cut them out like square style and leave this top band, or I could cut it out so I could keep the name of the print on there. Anyway, um, but I could like hang them. Like I don't know what I would do with it, but like I could take like little pieces of string and loop it. Ooh, that would be cool. So check this idea out. I could take a little piece of like twine or something and put it through here and make a little loop, like tied in a little bow. So then the loop would be going this way. Hey Tina, what up? So I could take the loop going this way and then I could put it on like a rod or a stick and have them hanging. Like kind of like prayer flags. But not. But yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe I'll take some more of these. Some of them are like vertical, like that shape. I don't want to do that. I like the squares. I like the squares. How are you, Tina? Tina, have you ever wanted to create something or do something and you were afraid to? You were afraid of like ruining it. You just didn't want to do it. Like you had a challenge. I'm going to write abundance on this one. This is the one I want to write abundance on. I really like her stuff. I would like to get like a piece. A piece. Nope, can't see that. I'm gonna do black marker. You know it's a commitment when you start off with a black Sharpie marker, right? Just putting that out there. Abundance. See? Abundance. Abundance. I will color it in. So this is what I'll do. Okay, so this is what I'll do next week. I will string them up like prayer flags. Ooh, I just got excited. Oh man. I have gold. I'm gonna trace this in gold. I thought I had silver in here. Silver, yes. Okay. Because the black marker, I'm coloring in my bubble letters, and it's just making what looks a little bit like to be a big black blob. Lessons learning. Um, but I'm gonna trace it in silver, and I think that will be super helpful. And then I'll show you what I got. But maybe I'll do that next week, unless I feel like doing something else next week. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but like I don't really plan the week ahead. And that may drive some people nuts. I'm very aware because I know that it leaves you in a space of like you can't like get the stuff and do it with me. And I think that kind of sucks. And I also have realized that my brain doesn't work in the way to plan out what I'm going to do next week. So I'm aware. Tina's saying, I took a free class to help jumpstart mine and now taking a food to keep going. Ooh, that's exciting. Okay. DANC. What really sucks is when I'm writing like a word in bubble letters and I misspell it because there's really no going back. There's no take backs. Okay, so I'll show you the abundance. Abundance. And I'm going to trace it in silver so that you can actually see it better. Again, I'm always learning. Make sure it's dry. Okay. Oh, yeah. No bad decision. It wasn't dry enough. So that just means that the tip of my silver Sharpie got a little black. So I made a couple lines to make it come off. And I'm just going to give it a second. Give it a second. So yeah, like look around your home, y'all. Like if you have a piece of art in your home or like a print, especially a print, like if you've bought anything, and nothing wrong with these things, like if you bought some piece of art that's basically like a fancy poster, like, and you're like, man, that would look really cool if somebody painted a really big heart in the middle. Maybe that's for you to do. Like look around your home and see what you have that can be repurposed. I have a huge Georgia O'Keeffe book with all of her works in it. And there's a part of me that wants to like graffiti over some of it with like words. Because right now it's just sitting in the book. Like I don't have the pieces out hanging, um, which would be cool if I did, but I don't. Man, the silver situation, it's not working like I thought it would. Not gonna lie. Experiencing disappointment. I'll show you. And you'll see all the lines on the side that I just am using to get the black off of silver. For some reason in my head, so have y'all ever used like paint markers where it has like the ball in it and you shake it? Um, I've had an assumption that the silver Sharpie would kind of work like that. It does not at all. Lessons learned. Okay, last letter. I'll show you my abundance that I wrote. It does look better though that I traced it in the silver. Okay, I'll show you. I think so. It makes it easier to see. See how I took out that silver now? And then these are all the lines that I did to mark the black off because it was on there. So yeah, this is my invitation and encouragement for you today and always. Create. Just create. And like look around, try new things, repurpose stuff. If you try painting on something and you don't like it, paint over it. Find a painting you don't like. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. But just allow yourself to be liberated in your creative expression. You only live once. You do. In this body, you only live once. So, no reason to not do something, right? Just go for it. Just go. So, thanks for being here with me, y'all. I appreciate it. It's good to be back and to do something creative. Um, Although I was enjoying my time in Costa Rica, I didn't do a lot of creative stuff. Um, just didn't want to pack stuff to create with. And anyway, it's good to be in my little creative Zen spot and creating. And I'm really grateful for you being here with me and joining me. So I love you all so much. I look forward to seeing you so soon. Keep creating, keep loving. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I love y'all.